Good morning, children. Today we are going to see 5th Standard English, Term 1, Unit 3, Supplementary, The Legend of Jaswantgarh. Before going to the story, children, let me ask you a question. What is the highest military reward in India? Yes, Paramveer Chakra is the highest military reward in India. Then, what is the second highest military reward? The second highest military reward is Mahavir Chakra. And then the third one is Veer Chakra. Okay, children. Now, we are going to see a story about the legend who received the most prestigious award, Mahavir Chakra. The legend of Jaswantgarh is about a great Indian soldier, Jaswant Singh Rawat. Jaswant Singh Rawat was born on 19th August 1941 at Uttarakhand. His rank in army is rifleman. Children, rifleman is an infantry soldier armed with a rifled long gun. Rifleman Jaswant Singh was considered the hero of Sino-Indian War in 1962 because as a single man he killed more than 300 Chinese soldiers in the war. The legendary story, The Battle of Nauranang, records the valor and patriotism of Jaswant Singh Rawat. Children, here valor means braveness. Okay, children. The place Jaswantgarh in Arunachal Pradesh gets its name only by the brave deeds of Jaswant Singh Rawat. Okay, children. Now come, let's see the real incident that took place in the year 1962. In the year 1962, there was a war between India and China. In the final part of the war, Nauranang was the last stand of the Indian army against the Chinese army. Children, here Nauranang is a place in Arunachal Pradesh. The battle started on 17th November 1962 and continued for 72 hours. At 5 a.m. in the eastern Himalayas, the Chinese army attacked the lonely Indian post in Nauranang. Knowing that the Chinese army was stronger, the Indian soldiers on the post were ordered to retreat and regroup. Children, retreat and regroup means get back and to organize in a new tactical formation. But Jaswant did not leave his post and decided to continue the fight to hold the Chinese until the reinforcements arrived. Children, reinforcement means additional army support. Two village girls named Seela and Nura helped Jaswant. They set up weapons at separate points. Jaswant taught the girls to fire guns. All three kept shooting on the Chinese army. Jaswant was running to different gun points and kept shooting. His intention was to give the Chinese army a perception that they are facing a huge Indian battalion. Children, here battalion means a military unit of 300 to 800 soldiers. Jaswant did this for 3 continuous days. Jaswant and girls had killed 300 Chinese soldiers. So, the Chinese army decided to cut the food supply to the post. The Chinese soldiers caught the man who brought food for the 3. In the Chinese interrogation, the man told the truth that a single soldier was guarding the post. A single soldier and the 2 village girls had fooled the Chinese. Chinese army were shocked and furious. So they surrounded Jaswant Singh and launched a final attack. Jaswant shot himself as Chinese were going to capture him. Then the Chinese force cut off his head and took it back to China. A grenade blast killed Sila. Children, grenade means a small bomb thrown by hand. Okay. Noora, the tribal girl, was captured alive. After the war, the commander of the Chinese army was impressed by the late Jaswant Singh's bravery. So, he returned his head along with the brass bust. Children, brass bust means a statue made of brass depicting a person's head and neck. A war memorial with the brass bust was made to remember Jaswant and his service to the nation. All army personnel who passes through this memorial pay their respect to him. The Indian Army still treats him as a serving officer and awards him promotions. India awarded him the Mahavir Chakra. Jaswant may have died in the battle that day, but he still lives in the memory of people in Jaswantgarh and the Indian Army. Children, now what you're seeing is Jaswant Singh Rawat War Memorial, which is located at Taiwan in western Arunachal Pradesh. This is the entrance of the war memorial. So all the army people who passed through this memorial pay respect to him. So here you can see the brass bust given by the Chinese commander for Jaswant Singh's bravery. This is the inner view of the war memorial. Here you can see Jaswant Singh's photos and his things like dress, so on. Children, this war memorial is located at Taiwan in western Arunachal Pradesh. So here is a brass bust of Jaswant Singh Rawat. Children, brass bust means a statue made of brass depicting a person's head and neck. So this is the outer view of the war memorial. You can see a national flag. So this is the outer part. Children, here you have Jaswantgarh Smriti Sthal. Now we are going to see Jaswantgarh Smriti Sthal. Children, Smriti Sthal means a common memorial site. Okay. So here you can see the other soldiers who sacrificed their life in the Battle of Narana. You can see their photos. Yes. Here the statue of rifleman. You can see the statue of rifleman here. Children, see the brass bust of the other two warriors, including Jaswant Singh. Here you can see the other warrior who sacrificed his life in the Battle of Narana. Yes, here you can see Jaswantgarh, Jaswant Singh photo. So what had happened on that day, on November 17, everything has been written there. So the fight continued for 72 hours. And as a single man, Jaswant Singh Rawat killed more than 300 Chinese soldiers. You can see his dress and cap. This is the dress and cap of Jaswant Singh Rawat. Children, Jaswant Singh Rawat may have died in the Battle of Narana that day, but he still lives in the memory of the people in Jaswantgarh and the Indian Army. So children, we all must bow our heads before this brave man who sacrificed his life in order to save his country. Children, now let's see the short summary of the story, The Legend of Jaswantgarh. In the year 1962, there was a war between India and China. In the final part of the war, Nauranang, children, Nauranang is a place in Arunachal Pradesh, was the last stand of Indian army against Chinese army. The battle started on 17th November 1962 and continued for 72 hours. So a battle means a fight between armies or groups of people. So the fight between Indian army and Chinese army was started on 17th November 1962 and continued for 72 hours. Knowing the strength of Chinese soldiers, the Indian soldiers of the post were ordered to retreat and regroup. Children, here retreat and regroup means to get back and to organize a new tactical formation. So, knowing the strength of Chinese soldiers, the Indian soldiers at Nauranang were ordered to come back and to organize a new tactical formation. But Jaswant did not leave his post and decided to continue the fight or at least hold the Chinese until the reinforcements arrived. Children, here reinforcements means additional army to support. So, Jaswant Singh did not want to leave the post and get back. So, he decided to continue to fight against the Chinese army or to hold the Chinese army until the additional army support arrives. Jaswant was helped by two tribal girls named Seela and Nura. They set up weapons. Children, a weapon is an object that is used for fighting or attacking. So, they set up weapons at separate points. Jaswant taught the girls to fire the weapons. All three maintained heavy firing on the Chinese army. His intention was to fool them that they were facing a huge battalion of Indian army. Children, here battalion means a military unit of 300 to 800 soldiers. So, Jaswant Singh Rawat and the two tribal girls were firing on Chinese army. Jaswant's intention was to fool the Chinese army that they are facing a huge military of Indian army. Okay, children. He managed this for 3 days. Jaswant continuously did this for 3 days. His trick worked. 300 Chinese soldiers were killed. Unfortunately, the Chinese soldiers caught the man who brought food for the three. So while this was going on, by bad luck, a Chinese soldier caught a man who brought food for Jaswant and the two village girls. In the Chinese interrogation, the man told the truth that a single soldier was guarding the post. Children, here interrogation means to question someone aggressively. So when the Chinese interrogate the man who brought food to Jaswant and the two girls, said the truth that the single soldier was guarding the post. The Chinese were surprised and also furious. Furious means very angry. On learning that they were fooled by a single soldier and two village girls. So children, the Chinese were surprised and also got very angry on learning that they were fooled by a single soldier and two village girls. The Chinese then surrounded Jaswant Singh and launched a final attack. Nura, the tribal girl, was captured alive and Seela died in a grenade burst. So after knowing that there was only a single soldier, the Chinese then surrounded Jaswant Singh and launched a final attack. Nura, the tribal girl, was captured alive and Seela died in a grenade burst. Children, here grenade means a small bomb thrown by hand. So Seela died in a bomb blast. Jaswant, realizing he was about to be captured, he shot himself. When Jaswant thought that he was going to be captured by Chinese army, he shot himself. Then the Chinese forces cut off his head and took it back to China. After the war, the commander of the Chinese forces returned his head along with the brass bust of the soldier. Children, here brass bust means a statue made of brass depicting a person's head and neck. So after the war, the commander of the Chinese forces was very much impressed by late Jaswant's bravery. So he just returned his head along with the brass bust of Jaswant Singh. Okay. A war memorial with a brass bust was made to remember Jaswant and his service to the nation. And India awarded him the Mahavir Chakra. Children, write this glossary in your notebook. First one is regroup, to organize in a new tactical formation. Reinforcement, additional strength of army. Interrogation, to question someone aggressively. Brass bust, a statue made of brass depicting a person's head and neck. Weapon, an object that is used for fighting or attacking. Battle, a fight between armies or groups of people. Furious, feeling great anger or violent. Children, write answers for the following questions in your notebook. First one is, where is Jaswantgarh located? Which place was the last stand of the Indian army? When did the Battle of Nauranang started? And how long it continued? Who helped Jaswant in his battle against Chinese? What happened to the two girls at the end of the war? And how was Jaswant killed? Children, write all the answers in your notebook. We will see you in next class. Thank you.